Hello again, welcome to the Boundary Line in a big week for Oldham Rugby League ahead of the AB Sundex 1895 Cup semi-final, 2 o'clock kick-off Sunday, Boundary Park. Make sure you're there for Oldham against Featherstone Rovers. Beautiful day here at the Netpar Training Centre, Melrose. The schools finals, probably what you can hear in the background. Really a hub and a hive of activity at the moment. It's fantastic to watch the stars of the future. We're all about Sunday, Bill and Sean. The chairman, Bill Quinn, the head coach, Sean Longhour, I guess. I almost forgot to introduce them there. Such is the excitement. Sean, first of all, how are we feeling midweek ahead of a big few days leading up to Sunday?
Yeah, I feel good. Excited about the game at weekend, and yeah, I can't wait for it to start. Obviously, we've got a couple of days training and good prep for us to go this week, but no, it's semi-final, 80 minutes away from Wembley. What's not to like?
Mr. Chairman, what are these weeks like for you, who's been such a driving force behind the success we've had so far? But this is a really big opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's amazing, really, because you got to look back and just think, which is hard to sort of contemplate the history that this club's got. 150 years next year, and they've never been to Wembley. So when you actually sort of think about it, we are sort of creating our own history, aren't we? You know, and if we can get there, that'd be fantastic. And pressure's all on Sean and the boys, isn't it?
No pressure then, no pressure.
How aware are you, Sean, of stuff like that? You know, the history is something you can't influence. We're going to hear about the historical context in just a moment of the near misses, the semi-final misses, but it is crazy for a club like this. And okay, 3-time Challenge Cup winners elsewhere, so there's an asterisk on that, never having been to Wembley, but still that sentence of never having been to Wembley, it seems crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, you know, for a club like Oldham never to play at Wembley, and it's crazy for us to be in this situation now. Where we come from last year was in League One, we got promoted. You know, we put a really good, strong team together for this year, thanks to Bill and Mike. And you know, we're part of history. If we go out there and get the win at weekend, they'll remember this chance and this time forever. You know, I've been fortunate enough to play at Wembley and coach at Wembley, and it's an amazing feeling to get to Wembley. And you know, we're 80 minutes away, and these lads here tonight, you know, we're coaching, and they'll remember it for the rest of their lives. It's just an unbelievable achievement, and what they can do, and an unbelievable feeling. To be 80 minutes away, it's giving me goosebumps, really, to think about it, that we've actually got a real crack at this. So we're going to be dialed in. We're going to, you know, leave no stone unturned. We're going to do our best. You know what I mean, and with our game plan and stuff like that, and our effort. And I think if we get that bit right and bottle that bit up, what we showed last week, we won't be far off, mate. I know Bill keeps asking me. Bill keeps asking me, like, you know, we've got to get there, and we're, you know, 80 minutes away. But, and I just said it's 50-50, isn't it? It's 50-50. It's all on the day.
And it couldn't have been close. We played them, well, almost exactly a month ago, and we came out on top in an absolute thriller, Bill. You didn't have any nails left after that, won by 2 points. So we know that Featherstone are going to bring their A game, and we're going to have to come out all guns blazing too.
Yeah, I mean, they're a tough side, aren't they? They're a seasoned championship side now, aren't they? And, you know, they're no mugs, they're good. But saying that, I think with the home advantage, I think, you know, if our guys turn up right, you know, and I just think they understand how much it means to this club and the fans and everything else. I mean, for me, I came into this club and I wanted to make a difference. You know, first of all, it was like, let's try and get out of League One. Then it was, right, let's try and make sure we establish ourselves in the Championship. And now we find ourselves, we're 80 minutes from Wembley. And then you think, hold on a minute, is it really true that we've never been to Wembley? Hold on a second, and it becomes much bigger. It's much bigger to the fans. I've been talking to fans this week, and they're like, oh, it's just telling me how much it would mean, and telling me about people that have died, and all they ever wanted to do is see us at Wembley. And you realise it becomes so much more to the fans and the people of Oldham, this particular game, to get us to Wembley, if you know what I mean. And I know that Sean, we have ultimate confidence in Sean and the guys, that they'll do their best. And I think we've even seen this season, number one, how the jump up to the Championship, what it is, but number two, the fact that, and I'm really proud of the guys, I hate losing, I just cannot stand losing, I've always been like that, but when I see the effort they put in, like last week, right to the last, you know what I mean, you can't knock that. And so long as they do that, so long as they wear that badge with pride and that they put all in, I can accept that, you know what I mean. And I'm sure on Sunday that every one of those players will give everything, I'm sure of that.
I'm really struck, Bill and Sean, by this moment we're having right now, thinking of everything we've achieved and set out to achieve in the short time that Bill and Mike and the new regime have been here. Success in the now, what we're doing on the pitch with you guys, Sean, now, being 80 minutes from Wembley, but also having this space, developing this space as a community hub. You can hear in the background, this is a really powerful moment. We've got a bit of silverware there that's close.
Yeah.
We've got a head coach and a chairman who are doing everything they can. We've got a re-engaged Oldham community. This is a really powerful moment for me. Just looking round, my sense is what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, all these kids here, and they look across now and they see that trophy, and they know that this team is, in their minds, on the way to Wembley. And every one of them that's out there now, playing and training and doing everything, if I was one of them there now, I'd be going, oh God, I want to be on that team. And that's what we set out. There was none of this when we came into this. And one of sort of the things that me and Mike aligned with was that to reconnect with the town, to get the kids and to make sure that the future of rugby in Oldham was more secure than it has been for, we've lost a decade of supporters, we've lost a decade of players, everyone's gone elsewhere to every other club because there wasn't anything here for them, and we want to create that. And when they come to this training ground, I was just talking to a couple of people who've just come for the first time, and they said, this wasn't like this last year. Can't believe this. And it makes you feel that you're on the right track. It makes you feel you're doing things right, not just getting to Wembley, but just coming here and seeing all these kids here and training and playing and everything else. And you think to yourself, yeah, we are getting somewhere, we are doing something good. So at the end of the day, we will go full out no matter what. We'll do everything we can with Sean and the boys because we want to get to Wembley. But in the cold light of day and everything else, looking at what's going on here today and what the future is here, I'm sure at some point there'll be plenty of trips to Wembley. I really am for this club, for this town.
Yeah, often in a world where so many people are keen to point out things you're doing wrong, occasionally it's nice to have moments like this to remind you of the stuff that you're doing right, and there's no problem with that at all. Sean, we'll build up to the game itself more in just a second, but in terms of the historical context of all the near misses Oldham, this famous old club, have had trying to get to Wembley, let's just underline that a little bit more, because I've been speaking this week also to the club historian Michael Turner and the BBC's Kevin Fitzpatrick. So guys, we've talked a lot about what this week means from the fans' perspective, the players' perspective, the coaches' perspective, in a historical context. I guess, Michael, first of all, underline the historical context of what is up for grabs here this week.
Well, although Oldham's won the Challenge Cup 3 times and were the first Lancashire winners, when it comes to the Wembley era, it's just been one hard luck story after another. 7 semi-finals, no wins, and a lot of dramatic exits along the way. So for people of a certain age like me who can remember those semis from the 60s onwards, it's a massive day. A day that I never thought we'd see again, a Wembley semi-final for Oldham, and many thanks to Bill and Mike for making it happen.
Yeah, in terms of that question, Kevin, what does this mean? Michael alluded to it quite nicely there. When you list those semi-finals, those near misses, it's quite a powerful answer to what it might mean to get there again.
It is, and you talk to Oldham fans and it really does run deep. My first memory of a Challenge Cup semi-final was that one against Warrington when Mike Ford put a kick into the corner, Paul Lord scored, we think, and it was snatched away. So that's kind of the heartbreak that goes along with it. I think every generation up until the last couple of decades has got it. And on our Facebook page at the Heritage Trust, people have really just been sharing the memories and reconnecting with it, and it just shows that the history of Oldham is huge, like incredibly proud, and people are desperate to tap into it. And this brings hope for the future, doesn't it? If we've been to all these semi-finals, not quite got there before, is this our time?
And it's really striking talking to you guys here at the New Look Melrose and Netpar Training Centre with our community action everywhere, the stars of the future, we hope, who now have that dream, Michael, to wear the Oldham shirt again, which you mentioned, Bill and Mike, before this new era of Oldham seemed like Wembley to have been a thing of the past.
Yeah, it's great to see you come down here to Netpar Melrose and just see all the kids, you know, being engaged with rugby league in the area. It's great.
And what are your, Kevin mentioned a couple of his striking standout memories of near misses. What are yours? What sticks in your mind?
The famous one was we played in 1964, 2 draws with Old Kingston Rovers. The second one was abandoned for bad light with Oldham actually in front. You can't get much closer than that. If you look at the record books, it says Old Kingston Rovers 14, Oldham 17, and still we didn't get to Wembley. Abandoned for bad light halfway through extra time. So, yeah.
I guess the key thing, or one of the key things here, Kevin, is and Sunday's going to be a hard game, which may not go our way. It might be Featherstone's day. It might be Featherstone Rovers getting to Wembley. But Michael said at the start of this chat that we thought the chances had gone. So even if it doesn't happen this week, there's suddenly renewed hope that we're there. You know, we're on the landscape again. That this is something that isn't dead and buried. There's the hope, the dream for Oldham Rugby League once more.
Certainly, and I think there's been an energy about the whole operation since Mike Ford came back in, and obviously Bill came in after him. And partly, I think, looking at it, it's because Mike is so synonymous with the most recent exciting times at the club, and people have really tapped into the memories of him, and he's come with this passion for it, hasn't he? He wants young kids to want to play for the hometown club again, and that's what it's about. You're telling a story, aren't you, and building an emotional connection, and I think that's what really people are really starting to buy into.
Final point to you, Michael. What are you going to be like Sunday? Are you a good watcher or are you a nervy spectator?
I'm a very nervy, silent watcher. I don't want anyone talking to me or anything. I just want to concentrate on the match. Yeah.
Kevin, I know you're very cool, calm and collected. You'll take these things in your stride. But so final point to you. This is something you've been looking into for a while, and, working with Michael on the heritage side and going through some of the archive and putting a Hall of Fame documentary, which was very well received recently too.
Yeah, so in terms of the history of the club, Michael and the team at the Heritage Trust there built this website, incredible website over the last few years, all the facts and figures and photos and things. So we've just been telling the story of some of the greatest players, 22 players in the Oldham Hall of Fame. We put out an audio documentary telling their story. The ones who are alive, we've interviewed them: Terry Flanagan, Andy Goodway, Mike Ford and John Huff, and then some of the legendary players from the 1950s, Bernard Ganley, Alan Davis. I did interviews with them about 20 years ago about their careers, and they're in it as well. So it's out on CD, it's downloadable, but it's out on CD, and that'll be available in the club bar within a couple of weeks.
Well, let's hope there are still some stories yet to be told in this rich tapestry of this club. But for now, good to see you both and enjoy the weekend.
Hope so. Thank
you.
George.
That was Kevin and Michael underlining just how near yet so far it's been in the years that have gone by. Building up, Sean, a bit more to Sunday. One bit of news we've got to touch on. I know you're a very positive guy, so we don't want to keep bringing it back to the injury crisis, but a week or so ago we had Ian Thornley, a Starman experienced key centre, ruled out for the season, and the news, unfortunately, this week is that just one match into his comeback, Jamar Samboo's had an awful hamstring injury that requires surgery, and we're not going to see him again this year either.
No, it's the curse of the centres really. We've been struggling with centres all year and outside backs, and you know, it's a shame for Jamar. I'm absolutely devastated for him because, you know, he's come back from that suspension, and now he's obviously going to miss the rest of the season with his, and it was a horrific tackle. I don't know why they didn't do something about it, but I just feel for Jamar and what he's going through at the moment, and hopefully the lads will get behind him and the staff will look after him, and hopefully he'll speed the recovery.
How is he? Because that's a massive setback. He was so excited, 7 matches out with his suspension, 1 match back, and from what I've been told, without being too graphic, his hamstring's almost come off come off the bone. You know,
Yeah.
It's a really big thing, rugby aside, for a young man to have to deal with.
Yeah, you know, he's had a couple of injuries, but you know, he's come back stronger when he has had that injury with his knee when he was at St Helens, and now he's going to have to. So he's been in that situation before. He's going to have to battle through, and hopefully we do everything right to get him back on the field. And yeah, just make sure he's happy mentally as well, and we keep him around the lads and make him feel welcome all the time. And you know, he'll be here tonight. We'll rally around him and just make sure he's happy. But I spoke to him; he's pretty devastated.
I will come back to that actually in just a moment, because it is Mental Health Awareness Week, and we're going to hear a bit more on that in just a moment. But one from you on that, Bill. Obviously Jamal will get looked after, but there's so many unpredictables, isn't there, in this game? It's not just building the biggest squad, signing the best players. You know, once matches kick off and you take your seat and hope for the best, there's so much that you just can't plan for.
Yeah, I mean, you have no control over these things, do you? No matter what you do. And all we can do is certainly wish Jamar all the best, and we'll support him in like we would with any player, and do the best that we can for him. Now what we've got to try and do though is we've got to look forward, and we've got to look to what we can do, not just for this game, for the rest of the season, and that's what we'll do. We've brought in some players recently what we felt that we needed to bring in, and obviously again the sort of curse of the centres come and hit us just at this time, but you know, we'll deal with that. We'll sit down with Sean and we'll plan and we'll move forward. You know, we won't take a backward step. That's not in our DNA. You know, we'll look forward and we'll move positively.
Well, Sean mentioned the mental side of serious injury, and as I alluded to, it is Mental Health Awareness Week, with the RFL having a big awareness drive on that as well. This year, something that our foundation is going to be delivering as well, with a focus on mental health. And I've been speaking on that topic to all of our senior pros, and I've had some real talk this week with prop forward Gil Dudson. So Gil, Mental Health Awareness Week, I'm always a bit funny about things like this, because mental health is a big passion of mine. It's something very important. I don't think it's just a day or a week. It's something that we work on 24/7, 365. But the very fact that you and I are sat here at the training ground having a conversation about mental health means it's done some good already. So how aware are you, I guess, about your own mental health?
Very, very aware these days. I think we speak openly, don't we? We know I've been sober coming up almost 5 years now, and I think that's played a big part in it. I had some struggles, as everybody does, and I had to go and seek some help a number of years ago, and I was basically burning myself out without realising it, and I stopped drinking at the same time, and kind of everything kind of just span out of control. I was spinning too many plates at too many times, and you can't do it, and I remember looking back, and certain things had happened, and I used to think, soft, it's up with you, yeah. Get on with it, crack on. And I think sometimes you have to have it happen to you to realise, you know, sometimes to actually understand how important it is. And I suppose the old mentality of, I am still a big believer in, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you can suck up and crack on with, but I think that you can do that by having better mechanisms and better coping strategies and better understanding of yourself. And you can then suck up and crack on when you actually understand yourself a bit better, and you have the people around you, and you have the actual support network, and you have the conversation with people. I think it's when you don't talk, and it's when you don't have them conversations or them people that you can reach out to, that's when things can spiral out of control, which I did go through myself.
So much to pick up on there, and I think it'll probably surprise a lot of people watching this that we have those chats very openly about mental health, because you're right. We're not, as blokes, certainly as men in rugby league, we're not really supposed to.
No.
You know, this is a very macho sport, and I think the reason that conversations about mental health in rugby league are so striking is that it's a sport where you're not supposed to show any perceived weakness. And like you said, if you say I'm struggling with something or show that something's not right, there's always been that thing, if that's a sign of weakness. Now, my point of view on that is it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Finding something in you to tell someone you're not all right is not a weakness. It's the exact opposite. It's a massive sign of your inner strength that you are able to do that without fear of judgment?
It's probably one of the strongest things you can actually do, and like you say, actually having that strength of character and of self to know that you need help. It's probably the scariest thing, but also one of the strongest and, like you said, the bravest things that you can actually do. And I think a lot of the time you don't actually understand or realise that you need the help when you actually need it. It's normally after the fact, when someone else who's gone through something has noticed something in you, and they might ask a question, and then next thing you know, you completely break down and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah. That's so right. And I think when you talk about going through adversity, giving you that sixth sense and that empathy, I think you're right. I think we're so preoccupied with our own lives and our own worlds.
Yeah.
It takes a personal crisis sometimes to change us, but also then to sense that in other people. I will see now when my friends aren't all right, which I probably never did before because I was too preoccupied in my own life.
Yeah.
In terms of changes, you mentioned alcohol. We've talked a lot about that. I'm 5.5 years alcohol free now, and that was a change I made purely for mental health reasons, because I was in a dark place, I was having dark thoughts, and I realised that actually the one thing I could do was remove alcohol from my life because it wasn't serving me, and things like my anxiety and my depression that I still manage have got so much better when I've taken that out. So there are certain things we can do. For me, it's alcohol, or not having alcohol, and it's exercise. That's the most powerful antidepressant I've ever found, is exercise. The buzz I get from it. It's not for everyone. So in my toolbox, if you like, in coping for life, it's not boozing, it's exercising as much as I can. And again, it's not for everyone. And then the third thing is talking, having that communication. So I guess for you, like if you sense you're having a stressful period or something, are there certain go-tos that
so like
you can get yourself right?
So like talking's massive. I've got like a really good group of core people who I know I can reach out to with pretty much anything, and it's other men. It's not my wife, because I think as men as well, you don't like to burden the people around you as much as you possibly can. So it's having that safe space with like-minded peers. And another one for myself as well personally is my faith. I'll lean into my faith quite a bit, and whether that's when I'm at church or just daily reading habits of reading the Bible daily, I find like I get a lot of comfort and can get a lot out of just being in the Word daily.
We'll let you go because you're speaking of being around people. You've got your team meeting coming up, but it's great to be able to steal a moment and have a chat like this. Our foundation, by the way, is going to be doing some mental health work as well, so there's certain initiatives on the way. But I guess the final thing that I would say is like there's always someone there who wants to help, even when you're in it having a bad day and you think no one cares.
100%.
There's always someone that does.
Yeah, of course there is. 100%. And there's always, like you said, there's always someone there who does care, and there's a lot of people who are willing to listen. And there's, like you said, if you are struggling or you do need to speak to somebody, just speak to someone, even if it's just a stranger. Sometimes, 99% of the time, you already know the answers to your problems. You just need someone to sit there, not judge, and sometimes you don't even want their input. You just want a soundboard because you already know what you need to do, but you just need to get it out.
It's offloading.
And it's 100%. And I think that's one of the biggest things is finding that person or that place where you can be comfortable in just offloading sometimes.
Top man, great chat.
Awesome.
So that was a good honest chat with Gil Dudson, who's actually stepped up, and well, you knew he was going to be one of the big leaders in this team, and now's the time. We need these big characters, big presences, big leaders, Sean.
Yeah, definitely. We had a leadership meeting on Monday, and we had a chat about what we wanted to get out of this week and how we were going to attack it. And Gil, JT, Adam Milner, Matthias, Drinker, they're all buzzing for this week, and we need to get excited. Like I say, I spoke before, he doesn't come around very often, this. So just leave it all out on the field and get the win. If we get the win, that'll be unbelievable for us as a club, where we come from in a short space of time, but also for us players and staff. Could be an absolute cracker of a weekend, hopefully. So we're excited this week, really excited. Can't wait.
Let's finish off then by focusing on this Sunday. Bill, in terms of the match day experience, it's going to be a big day anyway. It's a huge match. There's more around that. We've got Soul 31 local artist who's going to be performing with some local dancers. I think we've got a fun fair outside the ground as well. The usual hospitality, which is pretty much sold out. I think the Pine Piece sold out. Hospitality box just won.
No, that's sold now.
Oh, that's gone as well.
Yeah, that's
hospitality
gone.
box is already gone.
Yeah,
okay,
sold.
Ignore that. We're in good shape for what's going to be off the pitch. What's going to be a really big day, big occasion.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, really grateful to everybody, because you want your fans, you want everyone to buy into the experience, don't you? And we're hoping for a really big crowd. This you can't get any better than this. If this can't ignite the stay away fans, and then I don't know what we can do after that, because we've got the weather, we've got everything going for us. There's a fun fair out the front there, in front of the Joe Royal, the event centre, the Joe Royal stand. You've got the Boundary Parkers in the fun, in the fans bar. You've got the Broadway, the hospitality there. All the boxes are sold. I just think there's going to be an absolutely fantastic atmosphere. I think there's going to be a fantastic atmosphere in the ground. We've got a singer out on the pitch, and what we've done is, because unfortunately the event got cancelled last week, we did try to get as many dancers from the Oldham area to come down, and we've got them involved, and their parents and families are coming in free because they paid for tickets previously. And we're also hoping to have another event, because a lot of people haven't been able to make this in short notice, and we will be announcing shortly that there will be another much bigger event, and we're going to try and get as many people involved in that. And we just want to we want to give something back for the children that have worked so hard in learning dancing and everything, and for the parents, the money they've laid out. We as a club, although the money's not come to us, it went elsewhere, we want to just do what we can and do our bit to try and not crush these kids' dreams of what they wanted to do, which was dance, and hopefully it'll be something really good in the future. So yeah, great week ahead. Really looking forward to Sunday. Very nervous. And if we were to get the win, I might just have a drink, and it'll be the first time in a few years.
You'll be on the waltzes in that fun fair out the front.
I will be.
Bill, where's Bill? He's on the waltzes again.
I might be on the roof, I can tell you we win.
Well, let's hope for the best. Sean, final word to you. You're having your work cut out with the injuries at the moment, but I love seeing you like this. You are chomping at the bit. You're so up for this. You've got a couple of big training sessions left to go. And then it's out there, and any sportsman, any rugby player, any coach will tell you these are the moments you live for. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah. Like I say, semi-finals, it's all about getting there. It doesn't matter how you get there. It's just working hard and tipping in for 80 minutes, and that's what we're going to do. There we go.
That's what we're going to do. Great to have you here. Well, you're here anyway, but thanks for allowing us to come and do this. Great to see you, Mr. Chairman, as well. We hope to see you Sunday. Hopefully, you've got your tickets already. If you haven't, you can get them now. Make sure you do so before match day when it goes up a little bit, so you can save a bit of cash by doing so now. Join us on Sunday. Huge day for Oldham Rugby League. 2 o'clock kick-off in the semi-final. Oldham Featherstone at Boundary Park.